listening to my grandson and my son is that something very, very serious was going to take place in this country. Our political leaders had no idea. The police had no idea. But if you looked at young blacks and young whites with a discerning eye and a careful hearing, they have been telling us, and we would not listen, that what is happening in this country to them.
Mr. Howe, if I can just stop you, Mr. Howe.
In the streets of London, the peace has been disturbed. Fires burning everywhere, the language of the unheard. There's a generation thwarted with no ownership and pride, and fat cats with bellies as wide as the rich and poor divide. A broken social contract, bottom-up austerity. Oh, we can condemn it, but we're paying attention now, aren't we?
I have every right in this land to speak up. I have every right to be angry. I have every right to shout if I want to shout, because I'm fed up with this.
Blame it on the hoodies, blame it on the feral youth. But remember, you were young once and you cared about the truth. We sold out to the free market, made a couple of billionaires, and all we got was this mess. And McDonald's everywhere keeps unemployment high, keeps the cost of labour low, keeps young men out on the streets, and well, what do
I find it hard to have respect for people who don't have respect for me. Right? Yes. You don't tell me to shut up. You allow me to speak. I got all the respect for you. I ain't condoning that. I don't say it's right to burn down your whole area where you live. But what I am saying is they're crying out.
I was approached by Cecil at the end of 2010. They told me they had a bit of a situation with some of the youth in the Zamdela community that surrounded their plant. There still seemed to be a lot of anger against Cecil as a corporation, and many of the people felt completely ignored and overlooked. Death threats had been made against some of the Cecil employees, and Cecil was looking for a way to extend an arm of friendship or support, particularly towards the youth in the community.
The government in itself, it takes money to help other continents. People, they go and make crime in Cecil because they don't work. They broke the houses, whatever they can do to get money.
And we stay hungry here. We stand here for about 2 months to 3 months. We stay without food here.
I'm suffering. My children are suffering. You don't have money, you don't have nothing. You don't have job, we are hungry, man. So we'll fight for our right until we're dead. Cecil, it makes a lot of money. We must fight for our right.
Part of my work involves coming up with unique initiatives or projects which might address a social problem in a creative way. So I pitched this crazy idea to Cecil, where we'd simply give permission and create a platform for these frustrated youth to be seen and to be heard. And I didn't think that Cecil would go for it, but to their credit, they did.
Yeah, going into a community and you're saying what's out here is greenfield stuff for us, and I have no doubt that we're doing the right thing.
Do you want to be seen? Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you want to inspire change in your community and be a role model to others? Well, Fetu, now is the time. The opportunity is here, right now.
We had told the community that we were looking for talented artists, singers, dancers, musicians, actors, and aspiring filmmakers who wanted the opportunity to tell the story of their lives and their community using the arts as a conduit. And so I selected a team of 7 creative mentors, each a professional in their own right, to oversee 5 different creative workshops. And we set a date to tell the Sasolburg community about this new project called Vent. My heart is all about communities and all about expressing ourselves through the arts. Some of the guys wanted to know what possible good a white woman from Joburg could do in a township like Zamdela. And I remember someone asking me and saying, you know, what do you know about life on the streets of a township? Another group of people accused me of wanting to exploit the youth and profit off their talent. And I remember thinking, what on earth have I gotten myself into this time? I drove home that day and seriously considered quitting this project before it had even begun. However, in spite of the negativity and the anger I had witnessed, I was surprised to find that the applications were rolling in.
We are in an industrial town and we're all engineers and scientists, and the voice of chemistry and maths and science, that's the voice that we hear.
In order for you to be recognized in this area, you have to be maths and science inclined.
It's very hard to dream of being excellent at what you're good at when what it is that you're good at is not maths and science.
Just to call me and I will be ready for your love, I will do anything. Yes, I do, just to see this
Sasol has not done a production like this with raw talent. We've always taken people that have either studied or are practicing in a very formal environment.
To my surprise, in this very industrial town, we had an incredible response. Better still, the talent was exceptional. These guys were raw and real and unpolished and beautiful.
I'm happy and excited to be here because, I mean, having to see the talent that is happening around here, I think I'm truly blessed to be here.
I was very, very, very humbled and inspired by the passion and the enthusiasm and the incredible talent that is here.
And it was interesting to see people that could express themselves, you know. Things came from their heart.
What we found today is that that potential is there in most of the people that we've spoken to. And it was nice just to kind of shift their expectation and make them see something outside of what they already know.
Out of that 40, maybe 20, we had decided were tops. We had another 10 in the first 10 this morning that were tops. So now we're stuck with the situation of what are we going to do? So we've had to look at other avenues. Are they involved in the community? Are they being supported in any other way? Perhaps they belong to another group that's supporting their art. And now we have to start thinking in a different way of how we're going to accept people, not just purely on the brilliance of their performance, because so many of them are so good, but we need to look at how we can also support them in other ways.
In fact, it was a really tough job for us to choose only 50 participants for this particular project. But after 3 days of auditioning, we did. And in March 2011, Vent Sasolburg officially kicked off. First phase of the project was all about storytelling. We wanted to give each participant the opportunity to get to know one another and to start sharing their stories without any fear of judgment or condemnation.
Tell your story to the people who don't know you. Tell them who you are and what you're capable of.
I went to stay in Joburg. I was staying in the street. I was sleeping under the bridges there.
Some of the things I used to do while I was a youngster, I was involved in Dacha, in Enyaope, which is a dangerous trap.
I didn't know my mother and my father. They left me when I was 2 months old.
My father was working, then aside he was with another woman.
What makes me feel bad is that I was growing up without a father.
I was raped by 2 guys. They were giving me a lift.
I was involved in carrying a shotgun.
He was so abusive. He abused drugs, then he abused us in the house.
I once been involved in fighting with gangsters using pangas and some other materials.
I so wish to make peace with them, but I don't know how.
We suffer from money, lack of money, because we didn't have some foods to eat inside the house.
When I was about to see him, then I got a call that said he passed away.
After my mother died, I lived poorly.
I couldn't control myself. I was about to cry because I didn't see him before in my life. Yeah.
It's quite the mess you're in, but it's nothing love can't fix.
I can remember those first workshops, going home totally and utterly drained, not just from the teaching, but from what I was hearing and experiencing.
At this early point for me, I began to realize that this was so much more than just a nice little project to appease the youth. Their stories really challenged me. You can't listen to stories like those and remain detached or unaffected.
I mean, there's not one that has not suffered horrendous hardship. We're talking about homelessness, domestic violence like you can't believe, rape, hunger, physical abuse. You really see how much there is still to be done in this country.
More and more I began to think, these stories need to be told and these guys need to be listened to. They have such a valuable contribution to make in our society, and there is so much that we can learn from them if we would only really listen to them.
Tell me, are you even an answer when you can't hear my questions? Man, now one answer. Mr. Government, look at our brothers in the hood. They can't do nothing. Society is never good. We want to tell you this straight in your face for you to pave a way for us to success, Mr. Government. Your education is hard to get. Make it easier for us to access. Mr. Government, in our house we're trying to accept. Mr. Government, stop this and help us. Mr. Government, stop this and help us.
The issue in Zambia is people are killing each other, my friend.
Others you can't go in Snake Park because of their gangsters. And when we can't get a job, we plan to kill others. When we can't get a job, we plan to kill others.
I'm unemployed, you see, that's why we're getting involved in gangsterism. Do you get me? They can take it to whatever they think, they can take it or you can get inside here, can guide out that side, but I don't give a shit. But if you can listen to me, listen to me. That's what I'm saying. Listen to me, you don't listen to me, I don't give a shit.
I am a soldier, a counter-revolutionary suspect born at the dawn of freedom of my native kingdom, a heartbroken ghetto go-getter, shapeshifter. I am a descendant of Basotho, those who rolled rocks down Tababusiu in defiance of an oil-seeking beast from overseas. I am a soldier. I stand behind Mohammed Gaddafi in defiance of a no-fly zone. So, fuck your propaganda. I am a nigger from the last letter street, someday.
If they wanted to vent about Sasol, they could. If they wanted to vent about the government, they could. If they wanted to vent about white people like me coming into their communities with well-meaning yet useless initiatives, well, they could do that too. No subject was considered off limits.
And I think that process often is a very enriching process because you often learn just how to listen. And I think that's a really interesting thing. Is this, it's a process that never really stops. Is this learning to listen?
Come home. It's my business. Come on. And then one. So one.
Dancing for me is not a hobby. I don't do it for a hobby because this is my life and this is who I am. I chose to be a dancer and I am a dancer, you know. I am a dancer and then I tell my stories through dance. That's who I am. I live dance, I eat dance, I sleep dance. I do everything. Everything what I do is dance. Even when I'm working, it's dance for me.
There's a whole lot of vibe here. And some of them they've shown me Banzola pieces, some of them they've shown me hip hop, some of them they've shown me the African traditional dance steps, and which is it's exciting because I mean having to see them. Some of them they're passionate. Some of them you can see that they can develop into becoming leaders.
6, 7, breathe in. Don't. 3 ways of breath. This one, and the chest. I don't want the chest. I don't want this. I want this one.
They want to learn more. They're trying their best to express themselves through music.
You know, they never believe that one day something can happen like this. They can play in front of so many people to come, and today is like they are gifted to do so and free, and I'm happy for them, you know, because they're happy. If they're happy, I'm also happy.
The very essence of this project relies on the fact that we give permission and create a platform for those who are typically overlooked or ignored by society, and we allow them to vent and talk and and dream.
Welcome to a ghetto street gangster's paradise. And every day bloody dice is crime valley. A youthful violence they are perpetrate. How long will be mediate? Women are raped in parks. Children are running with the guns. Nyaboni life is not good. On our side, police are fleeing with those prostitutes. I try hard to focus on reality. Babies are sleeping in trains. So ghetto teenagers are sniffing cocaine. Yo.
Like much of South Africa, there are incredibly challenging aspects to life here, and in some cases probably more extreme than many parts of South Africa.
I think the real underlying problem is just simply people respecting another person as being equal to them, or seeing and hearing them as being worthwhile to see and hear.
We refuse to edit them or to argue with them or to try and correct them or to try and convince them to see things our way. We simply wanted them to know we see you, we hear you, and your feelings are valid.
But there's also a youth here who are very cognizant of the fact that they have to stand up and take action and responsibility for how things progress into their future. And we've met a number of remarkable individuals already who show that promise.
And then came the process of taking these really hard things that people had experienced, each and every single one, and channeling it in a creative way.
One of the reasons why the arts have been such an integral part of Vent is because arts allow you to purge and vent and get all your negative stuff out in a way that doesn't hurt yourself and it doesn't hurt anybody else.
The feeling I get when I'm watching it set tells me I should follow that sun to the west, and I've never been more positive that the rest of our lives in this current state of mind is just as good as if we already died. And when my heart speaks, I gotta listen to it. Now it's telling me that there must be something better than this.
Art is the only place of happiness for me. It's the only place whereby when I'm stressed, when I have frustrations and many things, you know, when I can dance and do drama or poetry or anything, art heals me and changes my inner person to another level of life.
All I'm thinking about is art, dancing, acting and stuff. So it always waters that plant inside of me.
I love dance. I'm passionate about dance. There's no other thing rather than dance for me.
If there's no art, Sasol is nothing, I can see that.
If it wasn't about art and drama, I wouldn't have finished my matric. I wouldn't have been the person I am now.
I think I would like to see them realize their own potential. I don't think I can hope for anything more than that.
The London riots are but one example of people venting in a destructive way, and there are many destructive ways that people vent.
Some of them, they will fall into bad things, such as being gangsters and some other things, and they'll forget about their future plans and stuff. They'll focus on fighting the industries and the government official, and which is some other things that will affect them in their lives. They'll end up nowhere.
We wanted to encourage our participants to take all of their pain and anger and frustration and disappointments and literally pour it out into their art.
It's a personal choice on how you deal with things.
In front of me, and there must be something better than this, but nobody here can tell me what it is. Until now, I never wondered how I could change my direction and leave this town. I think it's as simple as believing in it, that there must be something.
So singers began to write songs, and musicians would compose music, and dancers would tell their stories through movement. actors would create monologues, and even the filmmakers could have their say by, you know, filming images or taking photographs of stories that they felt was most meaningful to them. Phase 3 was all about the platform, or creating this platform or space. We put together a show or a production, which was actually a celebration of everything that we had accomplished together over the past couple of months. But this show was really unique. Usually with big productions or shows, you have people who write scripts and songs, and then those people teach everybody else what to say and what to sing. Every song, every poem, every monologue, every illustration, every story came from our participants.
So much came up, and with a show like this, you know, it's not like we had 6 months to go, now we're going to write a musical and this is the story. It was basically, the point of this was having a platform for people to have their stories shown and heard. In the very first workshop, one of the groups in drama did this hugely powerful physical theatre scene where they reenacted a rape, a gang violence rape. So we dredged that up again, and I said, okay, can you incorporate the whole group in that? And we used that as the intro to Nomvula, which is one of the most beautiful, powerful moments of the show, I think.
We booked out the Etienne Rousseau Theatre in Sasolburg for 3 shows, and we invited friends and family and the media and Sasol executives and basically everyone we could think of. And it was a beautiful, inspiring, mind-blowing moment. Just one of those moments where you just, you know, just go, wow.
Lo and behold, a place where all of this and that is up to no one but you. Welcome to Saturday.
There were so many tears from me, from those who watched the production, from the guys in the audience, and certainly, you know, from those who participated. It was almost like there was just this release of, you know, emotion.
After the whole production, it was soul healing and lovely in a way that I even cried, you know. Yeah, and that's when I realized that there's actually more into acting than making cash.
I can be friends with all of them, no matter we are diversified people from different cultures, different backgrounds, so we are united as one.
The relationships built very, very strong. It was just amazing.
We were so close now, so it's difficult to separate again, you know, back to square one.
I feel great, I feel motivated, I want to go on, keep on doing. implement the skills that I have learned throughout this project.
I'm just overwhelmed. I mean, I was crying during the piece, during certain songs, and just realizing just how much these guys have been through, and just how much they've achieved as well. Because I think with every down that they've experienced, this has really given them an up.
It was out of this world. And to think that these are young folks who a couple of months ago did not have that much exposure. This was incredible. This is pure first class.
With the house music. Oh, we're gonna hold music. Come on.
If I want to go far away with this talent, I have to be disciplined. I have to have a lot of respect.
Through these last couple of months, we really grown fond of each other. And this is really a sad moment to, basically say goodbye for now. I hope it's not, it's not a final goodbye, but it's really getting to me, because there's so many great people in this show with great hearts and great passion.
Actual event for me, it's a big thing for me. I found a new family, I found new friends, new kids, and I was a granddad to many, and I'll miss it.
We need to get quite a number of stakeholders together and see how we can actually support the youth in Metsimaholo, and to show people that even in the Free State, you've got the best of the best.
Dit was regtig asemrowend geweest. I realized that there were some issues that I hadn't actually dealt with and that I was still very angry and bitter about. But through this, I mean, I can say the biggest lesson I've learned is that to let go.
I must say this whole event thing felt a lot like therapy almost like a therapy session, because there's so much that we're sharing of ourselves that we feel so much closer with everybody else, and it's so hard to actually imagine that this is the end.
I cannot actually begin to stress how empowering it is for somebody who has been so invisible and so ignored for most of their lives to finally be given permission and a platform and a voice, and for people to really listen and hear what they have to say.
I'm going to miss this crowd hugely. I've become deeply, deeply, deeply fond of so many of them.
I hope and I know that this is only the beginning. And I think that what we have seen here, and with the youth and the creative people, what they've showed us, is that they will take this opportunity, and that there will be many more to come, and that we will really have a future for our creative talent in this area.
I mean, Vent was really a project that, it was an eye-opener for me. It was an eye-opener.
From an audition, nervous, unsure human beings about what they wanted to say to each other, what they wanted to say to the community, or having an idea of what they wanted to say but too afraid to say it. And just to see their freedom now is worth more than anything.
They are friends, they are awesome people. They are people who have overcome tremendous hardships. Those of us haves like me, those of us who live in nice homes and who drive nice cars and who have jobs and who eat 3 meals a day, and we can afford to educate our children, and we've got money to go and watch a movie or have coffee with friends. We have no idea what it's like to live on the other side. We have no idea what it's like to live in a shack, to have our babies sleep on hard floors, to scrounge and beg for money for food, to live on the streets, to have hopes constantly trampled on by the tough realities of life. We have a lot to learn. If we are willing to open our eyes and to see, if we are willing to open our ears and to listen.
I swear there is more here than sand. On the way up, would you think of me? I'll think of you. Oh, and we'll think of we. You will always mean just what you mean to me. One day we'll look back and see, but I'm going down. I'm going down. Going down to where my angels live. I'm going down. I'm going down. Please remember, please forgive.